Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. I'm glad you made it. I wanted to talk about the opening remarks from the chairman of the Senate Committee on Veterans Affairs, that's Jerry Moran, and share with you a little snippet of his comments and just to kind of get a feel of what's going on with regard to veterans benefits and as we move forward, right? So with that, before we jump into it, I'm going to throw on a special thank you to, it's not a name, ML-LG5ZW. Thank you so very much for the super comment, super chat. I really do appreciate your support. ML-LG5ZW. It's a hard name to say. Anyway, so jumping back into this opening remarks stuff, Chairman Moran delivers opening remarks during hearing on legislative presentation by disabled American veterans and multiple veteran service organizations. So today, U.S. Senator, and I'm going to jump in and play the video here in a second. I'm just going to kind of read to you this kind of front-loaded part. So on Tuesday, February 25th, Jerry Moran, the chairman of the Senate Committee on Veterans Affairs, alongside Representative Mike Bost, who's the chairman of the House Committee on Veterans Affairs, led a joint hearing to receive the legislative presentations of the disabled American veterans and vets, Vietnam Veterans of America, Military Order of the Purple Heart, Blinded Veterans Association, Veterans Education Success, Gold Star Wives of America, Inc., and Reserve Organization of America. This is the first of 3 hearings with veteran service organizations over the next 2 weeks. So if you are wondering what the veteran service organizations do, it's kind of, I guess, two-hatted, right? You have your local chapter or detachment or whatever it's called depending on the organization, and they try to help out locally, right? A veteran needs a wheelchair ramp. Maybe they got some funds and they'll help put that wheelchair ramp in. Camaraderie, doing good things, that type of stuff in the local community. Good stuff. Then at the national level, they're hammering on veteran and spouse and dependent type legislation and benefits. And in this case, they were doing their presentation first of 3. So this is good stuff, and we need to keep a pulse on it, because if we don't, well, then we're not aware, and when we're not aware, we lose. All right. So there's a quotation here. It says, "I'm grateful to the VSO leadership," and what he means is the Veteran Service Organization leadership, testifying today. "We have met and discussed you being here in person to share the great passion and expertise they have for supporting veterans, their families, and survivors. And I absolutely love when we combine it all. Don't ever just say for disabled veterans, right? Because that's 6 million people. When you talk about benefits and legislation, you're talking about veterans, families, spouses, dependents, survivors, even caregivers. That boosts that 6 million of disabled veterans to a number we're talking about of in the 40s, probably 40 million plus in that head count, which is a much better position to be if you're trying to, for lack of a better word, posture as you're trying to get legislative things completed. All right. The policies and programs that we will discuss today depend upon a strong and effective workforce at VA to deliver the care and benefits veterans deserve. I am committed to working with veteran service organizations and my colleagues to make certain that the necessary VA workforce is preserved as VA implements new federal workforce guidance." All right, so we're getting some support from the Senate Committee on Veterans Affairs. The chairman is saying that he is committed to ensuring that the VA is able to function appropriately to serve veterans. So the committee is a watchful eye over the VA, and obviously we'll be having discussions with the executive branch as well. All right, so there's some quotations here that we'll run through in a minute, but I want to go ahead and jump over and actually play this video. So bear with me here as I get this going with the share screen. Pull this up, boom, there it is, and we will press play.
Chairman Boss, thank you. Thank you for hosting this joint hearing, and we look forward to this continuing. The Senate will host in a few weeks, and we'll see you on our side of the building. But it's good to be here with you. It's good to be here with your members. Good to be here with my ranking member, Senator Blumenthal, and the ranking member of the House, Senator or Congressman Takano. And I welcome our VSOs, our witnesses, and those here present and those at home watching. I too say a special hello to all VSO members that are here or tuning in today from Kansas. I'm grateful to the VSO leadership testifying today. we've discussed being here in person to share their great passion and expertise for supporting veterans, their families, and their survivors. Policies and programs we will discuss today depend upon a strong and effective workforce at the VA to deliver the care and benefits veterans deserve. I'm committed to working with VSOs and my colleagues to make certain that the necessary VA workforce is preserved as VA implements new federal workforce guidance. The Senate committee has asked for lists of those who were impacted by actions broken down by location and occupation. The VA has said none of these employees were in mission critical positions, including no VCL responders. The VA has said there's a process in place that allows for the first senior executive in an impacted employee's chain of command to request an exemption. I have asked for and expect to receive, but I'm continuing to wait for further details about this process. The VA must be forthcoming and transparent to Congress, to VSOs, to the public, to its workforce regarding workforce strategy. We're all engaged in attempts to root out any waste, fraud, or abuse that is prevalent or is present, and we're all interested in putting the veteran first. We await additional answers to our questions. I thank you, and I look forward to today's hearing.
All right, so I think that there is some really good underlying messaging here with regard to the chairman of the Senate Committee on Veterans Affairs really pointing out that he is paying attention from the Senate perspective, and he's asking those questions, and he wants to make sure that the proof is in the pudding here, right? He is inspecting what he expects, which is exactly the same message that I mentioned to Doug Collins, right? The VA secretary. If you think that all these contracts that you want to cancel are going to have zero impact and they're for frivolous things, that's great. And it's great that you were told that, but inspect that and make sure that that's the case, because you don't want to have to flip around and change course. Your credibility right now within these first several months is probably the most important thing for you to preserve, right? So with that, I think there's some great things that we saw here in a very short blurb, but I think that reading between the lines there, we're seeing that the Senate Committee on Veterans Affairs is paying attention to veterans. They're listening to the veteran service organizations. They are partnered with them and pointing out that the VA needs to be accountable not only to veterans, but to Congress and to the veteran service organizations, which is veterans as well. Really, it kind of puts things into perspective a little bit. I love that he had mentioned that he had asked for some clarity on some impacted positions, although we're told that they are not mission critical and that they are not VCL, which is the Veterans Crisis Line. Still want to get some more insight. The one thing that they did throw in there, and I've seen this several times, is that the first line kind of executive leader could ask for exemptions. If somebody is going to be fired, they can exempt that role. My thought on that is that is probably in a proactive matter. So in other words, you better identify the people you want to preserve before they get the email that they're cut. So the positions that you need to preserve, you need to run those up the flagpole before the announcements of your job is gone come out. So for those in those positions, really you need to identify your workforce and really make sure that your folks that are in mission critical positions are basically flagged as such. With that, thanks so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. Have a great one. And remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.